Welcome back to another episode of Talon Talk. Whatever your listening preference, you can find our feature interviews on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, and of course on unfospreys.com. Don't miss our chats with student athletes, coaches, alumni, and Ospreys in the pros. Now, let's get to today's episode. Welcome back to another edition of Talon Talk. We have Director of Volleyball, head coach of the indoor side and the beach side, Kristen Wright. Thanks for being on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So give a quick intro of yourself. I'm sure a lot of people know who you are, but let's just go over the basics.
Sure. I'm Kristen Wright, the Director of Volleyball here and two-sport head coach. To be a two-sport head coach, you got to have great staff around you, and I really do. On the indoor side, I have Kevin Enlow, who I just promoted to defensive coordinator. And so what that's doing for me is in my analysis away from the girls is allowing me to really focus on our offense. Yes, I oversee everything, but I'm really empowering Kevin to really look at it from an analytical standpoint, develop, eventually moving into what I'd like to make him as associate head coach. He's young, but he's fast moving, and he's been with me since the beginning. So he's doing a great job. Emily Strack is my second assistant, and she does a great job with individual pullouts as I'm offensive and he's defensive coordinator. This is the first year we've done this, and many hands make light work, and I think we're at the point in my time here, we call it the right time. Credit to Josh Baker, he's making me say it, so I'm gonna give him a shout out. It's a fun thing to say, but yeah, it is the right time, and these are our fruit years, and we're in the middle of a pandemic and we're making the best of it. So we get to bring a couple of our seniors back, coupled with bringing our newcomers in, and that's been an art, but it's really exciting. On the beach side, I have Maddie Sims is my first assistant. She's almost through first year. She's played at Texas A&M Kingsville, but previous to that, she was actually played under Doug and I, my husband, who also coaches with us. She won a national championship there, ABCA Division II, small school, and then got the opportunity right out of college to coach and really learn of the administrative side and what it takes. And she loves it. And here we are, reunited in Florida. And just, history. I was at Miracosta, I was at a junior college prior to this. Have a 4-year history of being a director of volleyball, just because you have to know how to manage your time and know who to put on the sand and who not, and how you got to know both sports, and they're very different, but we love both. And it's great to be here, and it's really a prime time, and we're not going to let COVID steal the time we are in year 3, which is kind of like, okay, all the work's put in, the culture's there, people are in the right places at the right time. And you'll see when you come to the gym, our young people are now older classmen, and so it's a good time. So that's me.
Great. Thanks for that. Covered a lot of things there, and obviously touched on having direction under both those programs. You experienced having, the spring canceled and also the fall season postponed. How have you worked with both the teams to move forward despite that?
Yeah, I felt I stopped short. Doug is is my husband. He works on the beach side, and I'll kind of transition into your question. So when I'm at indoor, there's probably 5-6 dates where we're on the road in a normal season where he's really viewed as like an associate head coach, even though he's a volunteer. I mean, he's won many awards. He's been with me my whole time. We know the same system. And so he steps in as like that fatherly coach. He played in the ABPs, of high knowledge, knows how to teach well, and connect with people, has really good rapport. So him and Maddie work really well together. And same thing when I go to the beach. In the spring, there's like those few days, like 5-6 days where I'm on the road with beach that I'm not at indoor practice. But for the most part, every day I'm coaching indoor in the morning, 2.5 hours, a little bit of transition time. And then I'm coaching beach 2.5 hours. And I sprinkle in my administrative time. And like I said, you got to use your staff. So being a director of volleyball, I really rely on them to help in the office and get things done, and our administration supportive, and we get it done. It works. So the management of it is I have over 30 girls every year. It's not like I'm taking one team and putting them out in the sand. It essentially is 2 programs. And at this point in the beach era, you really need that to succeed. You need to be playing, most of your girls need to be playing year round. So they have, those touches are really important. And being that they are pretty different sports, it's important that they're playing and have that continuity, maybe developing chemistry with a partner and whatnot. So I think our training is pretty solid, and we're starting to see that and figure out long-term, okay, well, do we want indoor players to go over? And what's our niche? Our niche in recruiting is we are targeting people that are power. We have a top 50 kid coming in for indoor next year, probably could have gone Power 5, but wants to play both. So it's a niche. And if you see it like that, you got to sell it and be who you are, be your brand. And that's what we want to stay in our brand and not waver.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, just run us through kind of what the fall looks like right now. Obviously, yesterday I saw that you guys were practicing with beach, and then this morning a few girls were out there. Then you have indoor practice.
Yeah.
How different is the fall right now? Is that a normal kind of schedule, or is a lot changed?
Yeah, so my beach team is in 8 hours and my indoor team is in 20 hours. I think just going in the mindset of the girls right now, they're in a bubble, and rightfully so. And it's to be safe so that they get to play their sport. This year, the NCAA is given, as most people know, but if you don't, the NCAA is given everybody a year back of eligibility. So this year is kind of like a trial and error to get better and play another year or more added to their career. So it all depends on how you view it. I think our girls are viewing it like, hey, I can get, one step closer to a master's degree and play the sport I love. Like, there's very few people that aren't taking their COVID year. So that's something that we've done. So our beach girls are really committed, and our indoor girls are too. So they're volunteering their time. They're out there on the coop, the brand new coop, which I'm sure we'll get to in a minute, but how that's changed our dynamics of them. It'd be like basketball, putting up shots. Like, that's what they're doing. So they're self-run. The cup captains asked to get out there, but the measures to do that are different than last year. We got to know they're out there. We need to temperature check. There's a process of washing and wiping down the balls and disinfecting them every single day. We don't touch hands, because hands to face is it's a transmitter. So we go elbows or don't touch at all, like air high fives. And in the sport of beach and indoor, it's a very like low back or high back touch sport and hand on ball sport. Mm-hmm. Beach is moderate contact, CDC, because it's outside air, right? So you're less likely for any transmission to be contained. Whereas indoor, it's all in one space, but we have a pretty big arena. You don't really have to worry if you're staying in your bubble, and you really don't. So I think our girls are doing a good job, but it's difficult. Like, I'm not going to lie. It's difficult for them. It's difficult for coaches. I've altered my entire life. I dyed my hair brown, so I wouldn't have to go to a beauty parlor. Like, seriously, those are big, moves, but you can't show things at work and then not be the same at home, or if you have an, essential, go to Walmart to get food or whatever, or wherever you go, Publix. Yeah. You really have to be mindful and kind of think everyone could have it so that we can play our sport, so I can do my job and be there for them. And that's how we view it.
Yeah, that was definitely one thing I wanted to bring up, just, being a mother and then, being a wife and going home. What are kind of those added precautions that you're taking? What's that kind of experience like as a coach as well?
Yeah, so Doug and I don't have contact at all with any program. I wear gloves, 6 feet, masked up, and that's really the standard. Whereas Maddie, Kevin, and Strack, they're sometimes playing or coach led. There's a little bit of contact. In other sports, it'd be a coach pitching, or it's gonna happen to set up different parts of practice. So for me as a mom, like my kids go to school and like we have life. So I can't control all that. And you kind of have to let it go. For me, I just pray, like I just hope that families are taking this seriously. And if they're not, that they would respect that it could impact someone's job or impact someone's career. Like, until we figure out, you know, how to stop the spread. And so I think, you know, cleaning extra, it's definitely always on our mind. I think more than it would if I wasn't a head coach.
Going back to practice, considering the precautions you're taking at practice, what tools are you using to kind of still get your point across and still teach while at practice, despite kind of the more limitations that you have?
Yeah, I mean, the first step was getting them in the bubble. So that was the first phase was absolutely, it was really hard on our staff. And I credit our staff. Because we're in the gym, we have a block from in the morning 9 to noon, but each, you know, we have a pretty large roster. So we had to stay 10 and under with coaches. We really wanted to give it, you know, a lot to especially our young people, to train them and give them quality instruction. We had to reproduce practice 3 times. And so for me, it was 6 a day. So I was like, I went from not seeing anyone, like a total hermit, like I lost all my social skills, to whoa, like my mouth was ahead of my brain. Like it was a little weird in the first couple days, and we all were laughing, all of us coaches, because, you know, social skills it is a skill. Like you got to be doing it and exercising it, emotional intelligence and whatnot. So that went kind of like out the window for a while for me. But it's really good to be back. It really is. I'm happy, and really that just kind of shares, like, it's about the people. I do miss competition. That's like why you do it. But the bigger why is impacting people and, you know, leading them through and making sure my energy is good, making sure I'm well taking care of my family, my husband, so that I can be my best for my staff, my kids, and navigate. There's been a lot of adjustments. There's been a lot of change from the training room, different things every day. A big thing we're fighting on the beach is the wet bowl. So we practice in the middle of the day. So we have our girls out there committed to practicing on those kind of perceived wet bowl days at like 6 a.m. And man, are they incredible. Like it's fun too out there with the lights and just having a 5-court complex. Like we're really blessed. And if you just focus on what we have and not what you don't have, that's how you get through day to day.
And funny that you point out the coop again. I just realized that I think today, we're recording this and posting this at a later time, but today was when you guys announced that the courts are going to be on campus. So it is a big day. So it's been a year. It's crazy how time flies. So I just wanted to point that out really quickly. You got new girls on both the indoor and the beach side. I know you probably want to say a lot about each girl, but if there's any takeaways you want to share with people about, you know, your newcomers on the indoor side, whether transfers or newcomers, and your new girls on beach.
Yeah, I'll say broad just for time's sake, but we really have brought in, you know, we have a transfer, Bree Walp, who has already played in the NCAA at UT Arlington. She was a starter, all conference selection at the conference tournament selection. At the end of the year, was 66th in the country in blocking, and man, does it show in our gym. She is going to be a force for us. So she's, you know, just like anybody, whether you're a freshman or you're a transfer, she's like learning our culture, building our trust. We have a unique culture where it's pretty special, but it takes like intentional effort until it's a habit to give 100% of yourself and be open and, you know, build that trust just as much as you want to earn that trust, you know, so give and take, so to speak. And then we have, you know, quite the slew of freshmen, Logan O'Brien, Kaylee McKnight, you're going to see that are going to be on our floor pretty quickly. Jessica Bias and Ellie Hemiseth and Lachelle Sykes. And so different roles brought in for different reasons, but all very, very committed and really, really going to be great for our culture, body resting people in practice, just adding that depth that I think we lacked a little bit last year. So we're definitely older, we only lost one.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of maturity in our core of our team, nucleus of our team. But I think our core nucleus is going to be challenged, and we're going to be able to do different things this year that we've never done before. So we're really excited on the indoor side.
Is there anything that's specific that you've told your freshmen, or just understanding that this is a weird time to transition into college?
Yeah, well, the NCAA did it right by letting us kind of connect with them. That never has happened, like with the Zooms and stuff like that. They really did, because they felt connected. They didn't feel lost. We were able to do some unique things through Zoom and learn and break ourselves down, and without being in the gym and talk and connect and stuff in that due time when we could. So it was a good rare hours. So shifting to the beach, we have Christina Yamanyuk. She's going to kick my butt right now because I just pronounced it wrong. But
it's a difficult one. I've asked her multiple times.
I'm so sorry, Christina. And then Brooke Jennings and Anna Mallory. So those are three. One's a Canadian, two Floridians. Great girls. They've really done a great job, and their training and bought into our system. Christina knows Donna and Carly, the Canadian connection. So we're starting to build a Canadian, just kind of like a powerhouse here.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Canadians. We go there a lot, and they're going to do well.
Anything at practice that you guys are really emphasizing right now, just trying to obviously work on your game, but understand that for indoor, the season is at a different time of the year?
Yeah. Well, we don't know when it's going to start. We don't know if they're going to be like, whoop, because of basketball, like January or March. Like that's going to be really interesting. So you kind of have to prepare for the worst, right? And the worst would be you don't have a lot of time to transition after a break again. And then we're going to be going through, I would suspect, resocialization and that really slow approach, which we want to be ready for. So we're like we're not treating it like a full spring where it's like individuals. Like we really break down people's arm swings and mechanics and tweak a few things before we would just like get into more tactical team concepts. I'd say we're somewhere in between. Half our practices is devoted to process orientation still, like there's a lot of teaching going on still, but I would say the other half is they're kind of looking at things and looking who plays well together and making tactical decisions and implementing what we kind of broke down slowly into the game for the last hour, 45 minutes of practice. And I think towards November, we will have several scrimmages. We had our first this weekend after only 5 days of play. I was quite impressed, to be honest. I didn't have very high expectations for it. I thought it'd be really messy, but their base is pretty high. And what we want to see is when they put on a jersey, their parents in this case, and the scoreboard's there, what happens? And we saw many people, especially our new people, rise to another level than what they had been doing in practice. That's what you want as a coach. So all good things. And beach will have some competitions competing. We have a boogie board. It's a big tradition in our program. They get to sign the boogie board if they are like the queen of the day. And so those competitions are coming up in the next couple weeks.
Okay. That's a good plug. Another plug, you started a newsletter. Anything you want to share about that? Yeah,
we started Match Point. And Match Point is, I'm going to credit Dr. Olson. So I work with Dr. Olson. Our teams work with Dr. Olson. And, one day he was just like, who's telling your story? I have you, Brock, and you're amazing at your job and you find statistics I don't even find, or my staff doesn't even find. But I just feel like we were doing a great job of telling our story and collectively from me. And so I'm taking it on to make sure I'm telling all the positive things. And there's so many. Our alumni is going to be a big plug. I'm going to explain our measures in COVID, but there's a lot of things to celebrate that I don't think that I would catch. So we laid out a lot to our community and obviously our team, our support team, but alumni and donors as well. And they really loved it, and they found the facts pretty intriguing. And I think the more people know with facts, they're going to want to get behind some of the things, and transparency is really important, right? Because people don't know if you need help unless you share what you need. There's a lot of great things, and the experience has been great, but that's also because a lot of people have, come behind us to support us. It just takes a communication. We're really excited about that. And we have 2 Zooms this month with our alumni to have some fun and connect them. And then my first donor Zoom to share the vision of the program and what's realistic at North Florida. Like, how do we make this happen? What's pretty practical, and where are we at right now? So that's my goal.
The other elements of being a head coach that go past just the X's and O's and the recruiting, for sure. Anything else that you want to share? I know it was a lot of different topics today, but anything else that you want to share before we go?
No, I mean, I would just say whoever's watching that just keep in mind, like, I know with athletics, it just seems like we're just rolling out a ball, or it's really hard to be a Division I athlete. And I credit all of the athletes right now that are, in the moment, because I really believe this is going to build something in them past their careers and their life. We as a staff take pride in developing character traits in our kids that long after we're gone and they leave here, that they're going to be ready for, their careers, their families, their purposes in life, and their next seasons of life. And so we just got to take the time to be present in the moment, be grateful. There's a lot of hard things going on in this world with job losses and just fear. And my challenge to the community is just look for the good right now, not the bad. Look for what is good and focus on that, because we're kind of like on freeze. So it kind of exposes where our hearts are and what we really are about. And we have that pivot moment, just like we as athletes and coaches can pivot. We have that ability to pivot if we need to make a change. And I think in our personal lives, we have talked about this with our athletes and coaches. There's a silver lining in this. We can find the silver lining in anything. And so maybe it's more time with our family. We've actually been more effective in our homes. Our homes are being taken care of, but we have a Google Drive and we're very efficient. And it's kind of opening my eyes as a director. Like, I don't need them in a box over here if they need to take care of their family. And I think that's probably happening everywhere. It's interesting. We gotta have sport though. So I'm a big fighter I'm going to fight for sport. Sport is huge. It's so valuable. It's far beyond money. It's priceless, what you can learn through sport, watching someone, supporting someone. It's changed my life, and it's why I do it. So that would be the message I'd say. And it's such a hard time right now.
Yeah. And seeing the bigger picture of it too. And you see different sides of what sports mean right now. Yeah. And just going back to what you're saying about working remotely too, you're going to find solutions if you look for solutions. So thank you so much for elaborating on that. Thanks for talking today. It's always good to catch up. And I'll be seeing you hopefully sooner than later competing. Thanks for listening to Talon Talk. Find the complete archive along with feature articles on UNFOspreys.com by going to Fans and Talon Talk podcast series under the Multimedia tab.